Hello and welcome to another episode of Game Theory, the number one DraftKings prep show in all of the land. I am your host, Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and in this week's episode, guys, we are going to be breaking down all 14 fights happening this Saturday at UFC 281, headlined by Israel Adesanya. Almost went Ariel Helwani on you there. Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. So guys, let's get right into it, man. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Hopefully this will take about 45 minutes or so. I'm trying to vamble. I think if there's anything I need to mention, hit the subscribe button down below. Share this with a friend that plays in different MMA DFS tournaments than you. Let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's get right into it. Hey, the button worked this time. Sorry, I'm a little thrown off. My girlfriend just asked me if U2 was a boy band. I'm not a U2 fan, but I had to answer. I guess technically they are all men, so I guess that would be a boy band. What do you guys think? Is U2 a boy band? Leave it in the comments below. First fight of the night, we have Carlos Ulberg going against Nicky Gums. Our boy is back, Nicky Gums, Nikolai Negumereanu. I'll show my picks, see amongst picks at the ends, and I'll tell you how I'm picking and playing throughout the, let me get my TV turned off, throughout the show. First, we have Ulberg and Nicky Gums, 8,400, 7,800. I like this fight. I think this is a good fight to target, for, especially for the first fight of the night. Both these guys are coming in under their average salaries by about $300. Ulberg scores very well, 4.65 points a minute, but he tends to not find finishes. He has one finish in the UFC. Tafon and Chukwi, he did score 106 in that fight, did make the optimal lineup as well, so he scores a ton per minute. Needs that finish to be valuable in DraftKings though. So is he going to finish Nicky Gums? I don't know, man. I think someone finishes this fight. Gums looked really good against Ihor Pereira in his last fight. The UFC newcomer KO'd him in the second round. 111 is what he scored. Did make the optimal lineup there as well. So maybe this is just recency bias, but I'm expecting this to be a big time striking fest. Ulberg does nothing on the ground. He's a kickboxer. Negumereanu is about the same. He does employ a bit of ground game. He has what, 0.78 points per minute in takedowns and control time. Ulberg, his issue is he doesn't allow a ton of points, but he has been KO'd in the past in the UFC. 113 is what he gave up in that. Negumereanu, when he had his one loss, he gave up 106 in that decision. So these guys giving up a ton of points here. I think this will be a striking match. I do think, man, if you think someone's going to finish this fight, probably put him in the optimal lineup at these salaries. A finish would score very well. 100 points could get either of them on the optimal lineup at 84 and 78. So if you think a finish is coming, play these guys. I'll probably sit around 20% of both guys. Honestly, I don't know who's going to win. I'm leaning Ulberg, but honestly, Nicky Gums looked great against Ihor Pereira. I mean, Ulberg has wins over Fabio Cherant, which I don't even really count as a fight. Cherant is not great, didn't even finish him. Negumereanu beat Alexa Kamer, Ike Villanueva, Kennedy and Chukwu, who smashed Carlos Ulberg in his UFC debut. Both guys trending up, opponents trending down, which is good. Here are my projections. I won't just babble on. We got to get through 14 fights here. I'm leaning the underdog, to be completely honest. Ulberg has made improvements if you listen to his coach Eugene Behrman, and why wouldn't you? The guy seems like he's a lot of fun to listen to. You see that Ariel Helwani interview on Monday. I suggest you go watch that. It's a great little interview to check out. This is a close fight, guys. The problem is if no one finishes, it's going to score dog shit. I mean, look at these average DraftKings points per win, 87, 88. I'm going to be at about 20% for both of them. I'm going to pick the underdog, Nicky Gums, and that's how we're going to start off the card, UFC 281. Next fight, Julio Arce going against Montel Jackson. Guys, I mean, Arce's a lot of fun, but he is a terrible DraftKings player. He's also 1,500 under his average salary, 2.36 points a minute, less than 80 per win, and this is over 5 UFC wins. He doesn't do anything for takedowns and control time. If he does not get a finish, he pretty much does not score well at all. Even when he does get a finish, he KO'd Ewell in the second round. He had 87 points. He didn't even 10x his salary. Scored less than 90 points when he KO'd Erosa in the third round. Did not 10x his salary. I'm on the Montel Jackson side, and here's why. 5.24 points a minute, 120 when he wins, and this is over 5 UFC wins. So each of them with 5 UFC wins, there is a 40-point difference in average score here. Jackson, very simply put, one of the best DraftKings players on the entire card. He's right at his average salary. He's made the optimal lineup in both of his previous 2 fights. The the $9,000 salary has an optimal rate of 31%, which is a great number. Lands a ton of takedown and control time points, well over 2 points a minute. Gives up a ton as well, but Arce does not do that. He does not do that. Arce also has a 94% takedown defense. So will Montel Jackson be able to land takedowns and suppress Arce like he has in all of his other fights? We will have to see. I mean, this guy put up 131 against Bays in a decision, 116 in a first round KO of Strader, 148 in a decision against Felipe Colares, 108 in a decision against Andre Sukmantov. If he can get any of that game going over Arce, he's going to score a ton of points. The guy has proven that he's a great DraftKings player, and I absolutely love it. Here are my projections for how the fight is going. Obviously, much lower projections for Julio Arce. So yeah, for DraftKings, I mean, I'll pick Montel Jackson to win. I don't know if I would bet him. I have no idea what the line is. Probably not. But for DraftKings, I will definitely have him in a ton of lineups. And maybe, I mean, Arce, you just can't play. He does not score well at all. I mean, not even 90 points when he wins by KO, 76 when he's won by sub, and 72 when he wins by decision. So big fade on Arce. Play Montel Jackson. He scores very well in DraftKings. Next fight, Michael Trizano. You already know. If I say the name Michael Trizano, you know I'm not playing this fight. This one will be quick. Going against Seungwoo Choi. They gave us terrible salaries to play. The $88 and $7,400 salary are terrible to play. Neither makes the optimal lineup at a high clip. It's just a bad salary. And thank God we got two, not so good DraftKings fighters for this salary. Trizano, 2.25 a minute, 63 per win. 63 per win. I'm not playing him at all. Get him out. Seungwoo Choi, decent fighter, 2.8 points a minute, 92 per win. I'm picking Seungwoo Choi to win this. I don't like this fight for DraftKings at all. This will be a big fade for me. Trizano has never scored over 90 points. Seungwoo Choi has scored over 100 in 2 of his 3 wins. Maybe you look to play a bit of Seungwoo Choi, but that salary is too high. Too high for what could be a decision win, where, Choi averages 86 points, not even 10x his $8,800 salary. Meanwhile, Trizano, when he wins by decision, less than 60. Trizano is even worse DraftKings player than Julio Arce. I will not be playing him at all. Maybe a bit of Choi. I mean, Choi gives up a ton of takedowns and control time. Trizano is not doing that, or he's not shown that anyways in his 6 UFC fights. He has a 72% takedown defense. One of the best strength of schedules, though, on the card somehow. According to, I do my strength of schedule just like the BCS does for college football. And Trizano has some incredible numbers. I don't really understand how, but that's just what my numbers say. Meanwhile, Seungwoo Choi, anything over 70 is pretty good, and we are right there. Both guys coming off 2 losses in a row, respectively. So this could be a loser leaves town match. I'm still picking Seungwoo Choi. I think he gets the job done. I will never back Michael Trizano in any way, shape, or form. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on that one. As I scroll through, you can see this is what the show is, guys. Welcome to Game Theory. I just BS about fights, give you some pertinent stats that I think while I scroll through. Please feel free to pause the video whenever you want to take a look at the stats. Otherwise, you can find all my stats, DFS, comprehensive, just regular UFC stats, betting stats, and my advanced stats with all my salary voodoo on it on my patreon.com. Link will be in the description. So if you ever want all access to all my stats, get on over to the description underneath the video and click on that Patreon link. I picked Choi. I'm not playing Trizano at all. Next fight. Most people, I think, are writing this fight off, guys. Karolina Kowalkiewicz going against Silvana Gomez Juarez, and I know what you're thinking. This is low-level women's MMA. Both women have losing records here. Kowalkiewicz is 6-7 in the UFC. SGJ, that doesn't sound right. It just doesn't flow right. Silvana Gomez Juarez 1-2 in the UFC. Had a stunning KO knockout of one of the worst fighters in the UFC history, Na Liang. No offense, Na Liang, but yeah. These women are 2-8. In their last 8 fights, they've won 2 of them. 25% win rate. Kowalkiewicz was on a 4-fight streak until she got that win over Felice Herrig, and then Felice Herrig abruptly retired after that. So tune in tonight to the DraftKings show, but this is a fight I'm targeting. I don't think this one goes to decision. I think someone's finishing this fight. Both women have been getting finished or finishing. I love this fight for DraftKings at 8,200 and 8,000. I'll probably be a bit heavier on the dog, Silvana Gomez-Juarez. She's got crazy power, but she's also not a good fighter. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is just turned 37. She has her, actually both of these women are 37. Gomez is older. She's almost 38. Kowalkiewicz has had her moments in the UFC. Those have passed, I think, unless she's fighting a retiring fighter, which Silvana Gomez-Juarez is probably not retiring after this. I won't put any stock in her at all. I think someone's getting finished. I don't think either of these women can make it all 15 minutes. Someone's getting KO'd here. Someone's getting put to sleep. I will be over the field on this fight. That's you can take it or leave it. I know it sounds crazy. I will be over the field on this fight for sure. And I like the dog on this one. I don't know why, but I just do. Here are all the stats. You guys can take a look at them. Projections, very, very close. The visual statistical recap, finishes and losses professionally and in the UFC, well over 50%. Yeah, I don't think this one goes to decision, and I think someone is getting KO'd in this one. It could be a sneaky little fight. That's how I'm choosing to play this one, guys. I'm going to be over the field on this. I'm going to be paying close attention to ownerships, but I think I will be over the field on this strawweight fight that no one in their right mind should play except for me. So that should give me a little bit of variance there, but I just think somebody's getting finished in that one. Like I said, tune into the DraftKings show tonight. Sneak preview. I'll be picking that as a fight to target, and I will give you different reasons why and show you some of the stats there as well. Next fight, Matt Frevola going against Ottman Azaitar. We get Ottman Azaitar at a dog salary. I'm very interested in the dog this week. I don't usually like what I see out of Matt Frevola. He is either he is a kill or be killed fighter, and that is just the bottom line with Matt Frevola. 3.54 points a minute, 106 when he wins. He allows 4.05 points a minute and 131 on average when he loses. Guys, this is over 3 UFC losses. He's averaging 131 points per loss. He's got the highest ceiling on the card at 143 and the lowest floor at completely 0. Give me Ottman Azaitar, guys. I don't think this one goes to decision. 5.43 points per minute for Ottman, 103 in his, on average, almost 104, 600 under his average salary, and these salaries are great. 8,500, 7,700. I love the dog salary of $7,700. It has almost a 35% optimal rate for a dog salary. It's the 4th best optimal rate on the entire card. There we go. My computer just froze up for a second. I hate when it does that. I get such anxiety when I'm using my scroll wheel and nothing's happening, especially when I'm live. Yeah, like I said, Frevola is a kill or be killed fighter. I think Azaitar can come out here and get this done. He just has to avoid the takedowns of Matt Frevola. I would be shocked if Frevola did not throw any takedowns in this fight or attempt any, but we'll see how Ottman handles that. His takedown defense is 100%, and I'm sure, let's just take a look. How many attempts is that? How many attempts? 0 for 1. Someone tried to take him down one time, and so he has 100% takedown defense. I like Ottman here. We're going to see what this guy can do. If you don't remember, this was the guy that got kicked off one of the cards in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island when that first started for someone bringing him a bag in the middle of the night. They broke protocol, broke quarantine, and he went out and got a bag. No one knows what's in the bag. What's in the bag? Nobody knows. And it was a joke for quite a while. Still probably is. I'm taking the Bagman, Ottman Azaitar. He should change his name to the Bagman, to be completely honest. We'll scroll through these projections, scroll through the visual statistical recaps. Much more real estate for Azaitar. But then Frevola has 7 fights while Ottman has 2 fights. Tons of these guys, every 2 out of 3 of the times that they lose, which is all Frevola. Ottman, if I didn't mention, is 13-0 professionally. 2 out of 3 of Frevola's losses have been finishes. And all 3 of those losses coming in the UFC, 60% of their wins have been finishes. I like inside the distance here, and I like the dog. I'm shocked we're getting Ottman at $7,700 over Frevola. I just don't think Frevola is the fighter that everybody else does, I think. Like I said, kill or be killed fighter is Matt Frevola. This one ain't going the distance. I'll be heavily targeting this fight for sure. I will have my fair share of Frevola. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm playing 0 of him. He's no Michael Trizano, that's for damn sure. But yeah, I like the dog here. Next fight, Andre Petroski going against Wellington Turman. And shout out my guy Lou Betya, including him. There are a ton of people I am seeing on Wellington Turman this week. And honestly, I don't know why. At least for DraftKings. I'm not talking about betting. Obviously, betting is a completely different story. This line is probably ridiculous at this point. But Wellington Turman for DraftKings averages 76 points per win, 2.67 points a minute. No good. No good for me. Meanwhile, Petroski has fought for almost 30 minutes of cage time. He has the best defensive pace on the entire card, less than 1 point per minute. 0.9 points per minute is all he allows. That's the best number on the card. Meanwhile, he is scoring 4.61 raw DraftKings points per minute and 105 points per win on average. This is over 3 wins, guys. I love Petroski here. I was doubting him. I think I bet against him. Not bet against him, but I played against him in the Maximum fight. I probably was on him for Gilmore, but that didn't look great, and Gilmore looked terrible. But yeah, I like Petroski here. I think he's got a well-rounded game. He could also become the third member of the, what am I calling this? The 4-4-1 club. 4 wins in his last 4. 100% win rate. So 4 of 4 fights, and then making the DraftKings optimal lineup 4 times would be very impressive. And he could join Ricky Simone and the king of DraftKings herself, King Casey O'Neill, in that club. So I'll be rooting for Petroski. I'll be playing a bunch of him. 9,200 is a bit much, but look at this. He's made optimal in all 3 of his fights, guys. All 3 of them. Wellington Turman has made it in 1. Turman doesn't give up a ton in takedowns, but gives up half a point per minute in control time. Meanwhile, Petroski, that's been his game, 2.46 points per minute in takedowns and control time combined. Turman does, score 1.2, 1.3 points in those categories as well, but Petroski allows none of that. None of it. He's got a 100% takedown defense. Wellington Turman has an 85% takedown defense. This is going to the ground for sure, and I think Petroski has an edge here. You got to watch out for Turman. He's very dangerous, submissions, etc. Obviously, I don't have to tell you guys that. It's very clear. But Petroski, I think, is trying to make a name for himself here. Gilmore, Yao Zhang is terrible. Nick Maximov just got cut, but that was a really good win. Really good win for Petroski in that one. Turman coming off 2 wins, 1 to Sam Alvey. So what are we talking about here? Sam freaking Alvey. And Misha Serkinov, who also is probably not going to see another UFC fight. Lost to Bruno Silva. Lost to Andrew Sanchez. That should tell you a lot, losing to Andrew Sanchez. Here are my raw DraftKings points per minute graphs where Petroski is basically above his opponents, not even touching. Meanwhile, Wellington Turman is trending down while his opponents trend up. Here are my projections. It's not even close. Petroski with the much higher projections, much higher real estate as well on the visual statistical recap. I mean, for DraftKings, all signs point to Petroski. You are paying for him this time. He's much higher than his average salary, I believe, almost $1,000 over his average salary. You're paying for it. This is paying for the Renzo Gracie Philly guy here. Meanwhile, Turman is training with Glover Teixeira. At least that's what it says on Tapology. So long story short, I'm picking Petroski to win. I'm picking Petroski to have a good performance and hopefully make that DraftKings optimal lineup for the 4th time out of 4 fights, guys. That's how I see this one. I'll have a little bit of Turman, but I'll probably be a bit higher on Petroski. Next fight. Smash spot, Erin Blanchfield going against Molly McCann. Oh, Molly McCann's going to box her ears off. Stop it. Maybe it could happen. That's not how I'm playing this. I will have 0 Molly McCann. The $6,700 salary makes optimal at a 3% rate, has a 6% win rate. Meanwhile, Erin Blanchfield in the $9,500 salary has a 91% win rate and almost a 50% optimal rate. So that's how I'm playing this one, straight up. I don't care. 5.47 points per minute for Blanchfield. 111, almost 112 when she wins, guys. This is 3 UFC wins, averaging 112 points. Only allows 1.5 points per minute. Meanwhile, Molly McCann, if she can't land a spinning elbow on you, what is she going to do? I mean, she set up Luana Carolina for that spinning elbow beautifully. I'm not denying that. And it took the same thing for Hannah Goldie, who's not a great fighter. Erin Blanchfield supposedly is the next big thing in this division, women's flyweight. I agree with it completely. I will be riding on the Blanchfield side for sure. I mean, she scores 95 per sub win, 120 when she wins by decision. All of her 3 fights have been over 90 points, 2 of them over 110. Scores almost 2.5 points per minute in takedowns and control time. Meanwhile, McCann is giving up well over 1 point per minute in takedowns and control time. This is all Blanchfield. Oh, Molly McCann's going to box her ears off. All right. Okay. If that's how you see it, then play Molly McCann, because that's a deal of a lifetime, $6,700. You're going to be going straight to the bank with that winning ticket. But I am firmly on the Blanchfield side. I will be playing next to none of Molly McCann, and I'll be playing Erin Blanchfield. Wins over Sarah Alpar, Miranda Maverick, and JJ Aldrich. 126, 115, and 95 is what she scored. Meanwhile, like I said, if Molly McCann's not landing a ridiculous spinning elbow that for some reason her opponents can't see coming, I don't really understand that, then she really is not going to win. So that's kind of how I see it. Blanchfield trending way up, McCann trending way up as well. So this should be an interesting fight. I just think Blanchfield has her covered everywhere. If Blanchfield decides to not land takedowns, I would be a little bit sketched on that. It would make me nervous, but I think that's what her game is going to be. So give me Blanchfield, 9,500. I'm considering it a smash spot. Both these women, though, making the optimal lineup in two of their past, both of their past two fights. Actually, 2 out of 4 for McCann. I shouldn't say that. 2 out of 4 for McCann, 2 out of 3 for Erin Blanchfield. So give me Blanchfield, avoiding. If she gets hit with a spinning elbow, I'm just done with this game. If this happens 3 times in a row, I'm done with women's MMA. Next fight, we are cruising, guys. Dominic Reyes going against Ryan Spann. This is a must-play fight. Ryan Spann, I think all 4 of his last 4 fights have ended in the first round, whether he's won or lost. This guy's a first-round machine. He's another kill or be killed fighter right here, Ryan Spann. Dominic Reyes hasn't fought in over a year and a half. And he's $9,300. That's going to be a tough spot to get to, especially when his DraftKings numbers were never really that good. 2.68 points a minute, 96.5 when he wins. Not very excited about that at all. Does nothing for takedowns and control time. He relies on his power, which is, a decent weapon to have, especially when if you're a decent boxer, decent striker. Ryan Spann, much more of a submission guy. So we will kind of see how this one goes. I'll have to put some exposure on Ryan Spann at 6,900. Like I said, killer be killed fighter, has made the optimal lineup in 2 of his past 3 fights. Had a mean choke on Ion Cutelaba on his last one. Lost to Anthony Smith before that, and then smashed Misha Serkinov. TKO'd him, 106 points in that one, almost 107. Beat Sam Alvey in a split decision. That's a gross split decision when it's going against Sam Alvey. Meanwhile, Dominic Reyes with one of the best strength of schedules on the cards. Lost to, listen to these guys he's lost to: current champion Yuri Prohashka, former champion Jan Blachowicz, and former champion John Jones, possibly the best of all time. So nothing to be ashamed of there. Beat Chris Weidman, beat Volkan Oezdemir pretty handily there. Knocked out Chris Weidman. I guess it was a split decision against Oezdemir. I need to see what Dominic Reyes can do after this long layoff at 32 years old. Can he beat Ryan Spann? Absolutely. I just think Spann has a chance to catch something, and so I'll just be playing this fight as a whole. It's going to be very difficult for me to pick a winner. I'm probably going to pick Dominic Reyes, but Ryan Spann could finish this at any time. Percent of finishes and losses in the UFC, 80% of these guys cumulative losses, so 4 out of 5 of them have been finishes. Guys, this one is a fight to target, and obviously we have a huge gap in salaries, so that automatically makes me look at the underdog for some salary relief. At 6,900, that is exactly what that is salary relief. I think it's the 3rd lowest salary on the entire card. Meanwhile, 9,300 for Reyes sounds crazy. I haven't seen what this guy can do in a year and a half. So I'll be playing both, because Reyes could come out here and smash Ryan Spann, as he should. But Ryan Spann is no joke, man. I've underestimated him several times, especially in DraftKings, and it has not worked out for me. I had a ton of Ion Cutelaba in his last fight, and that did not work out for me at all. So give me some Spann at 6,900. That will be very easy to get to. One of my top underdogs on the card probably is Ryan Spann, just because there are so many questions about Reyes. Hopefully, I'd like to see the guy do good, but it's been a year and a half. So 9,300 is an awful. I mean, he's coming in $600 over his average salary, and he hasn't fought in a year and a half, and he's coming off 3 losses. Should he beat Ryan Spann? Yes. Will he? I don't know. I'm playing both sides of this one. I might have more Spann than Reyes, though, because of the salaries. 9,300 is very, very difficult to get to. Next fight. Here's kind of a sleeper fight, guys. I don't know anybody that's really talking about this a ton. Two great salaries to target for DraftKings. Renato Moicano going against Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell has a very suspect chin, as we've seen, but these city kickboxing guys, you can never underestimate them. Both of these guys have made the optimal lineup in 1 out of their past 3 fights. Renato Moicano, 33 years old, not a great DraftKings score, less than 3 points a minute, 94.5 when he wins, but Brad Riddell, 3 points a minute, but only 80 per win. So I don't know, man. I think this one goes to decision, and I think it's a not a good scoring fight. Excuse me. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling that I don't like this fight for DraftKings this week. Riddell coming off of 2 losses. Rafael Fiziev, Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner put him out in less than a minute. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. But coming off wins over Mustafayev, Alex da Silva, and then Drew Dober before that. That Drew Dober one was a good fight. Scored 99, almost 100 points, and he did make the optimal lineup in that one. Moicano coming off a big loss to RDA, a 5-round decision, which he got absolutely slaughtered. Wins over Hernandez, Jai Herbert, and Damir Hadzovic. Also a loss to Rafael Fiziev. I don't have a good read on this fight. I'm probably picking... I'll probably have more of the underdog, to be honest, but Brad Riddell, as we said, does not score well in the UFC. 6 of 7 losses between these two guys have ended by finish, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, man. Sub, KO, sub for Moicano. Wow, 4 of his last 5 fights all ending by finish, and then Brad Riddell's been finished twice in a row, so maybe I'll pick Moicano. This is a real mystery fight for me as far as DraftKings go, because the stats say you should probably fade this one a little bit, with their average scores and whatnot. But if one of these guys goes out in the first, you're gonna want a piece of that, and this is a very easy fight to get to. I'm gonna wait. This is gonna be an ownership play. I'm gonna see what the ownership's at. If it's like around 20 for each guy, I'll probably be over on both. Maybe we'll just be over on both. Call it safe. I just don't like the overall scoring of them. I'm gonna pick Moicano to win, but man, Brad Riddell could absolutely come out here and show us something. So I don't know. I'm gonna pick Moicano. Tough son of a bitch. If this one goes to decision, I'll be eating my hat, because I do not want either of these guys win in a decision. 76 is what Moicano scores in a decision. 84 is what Brad Riddell scores per decision. Not good points at all. So man, this is gonna be a tough one. You're just going to have to play the odds. You're going to have to look at ownerships on this one. I'm picking Moicano to win. We'll see what Sia Monk has to say. I'll probably be right around ownership on this one. Nothing crazy. It just sucks because the 8,300 and 7,900 is a great fight to target for DraftKings. One of the best fights according to Salary Voodoo. This is just such a hard one to figure out, honestly. Let me know in the comments. This is one I just cannot figure out. Let me know in the comments what you think about this Renato Moicano and Brad Riddell fight, because honestly, I don't know what to do. Next fight, Dan the Hangman Hooker going against Claudio Puelles. Puelles is a great price here. 7,500, has made the optimal in 2 out of his last 3 fights, and he's even cheaper than his average salary. Guy scores 3 points a minute, only 85 per win, but he's coming off of wins over, let's see, Silva, Mariano, Jordan Levitt, Chris Gritzmacher, and Clay Guida. He has leg locked or knee barred 2 guys in a row, I believe, Gritzmacher and Guida. So Dan Hooker should keep his leg out of harm's way and should win this fight. If you listen to Eugene Behrman, apparently Dan Hooker, Eugene Behrman is a guy that he's a no-nonsense guy, it seems like. He's calling Israel Adesanya just another fighter at our gym, just another guy. And if he's doing, he's given all these guys a kick in the butt, if you're to believe what Eugene Behrman is saying, and that Dan Hooker responded first and very well. So Hooker's been on quite a run lately, only 1-4 in his last 5, with losses to Poirier, Chandler, Makhachev, and Allen. I mean, these guys are no joke. He's not washed by any means. That's a narrative going around, is that Dan Hooker's washed at 32 years old. I don't think so. If you're to believe what Eugene Behrman says, I would watch out here. I think Dan Hooker, this is going to go one of 2 ways. He's going to get leg locked. He's going to get knee barred early, and Puelles is going to pull off another amazing win at $7,500, or more likely, Dan Hooker is going to come out here reborn You know, with Reborn, I'm so bad at this on the spot, but he's just going to come out here with a sense of urgency, maybe that we haven't seen from Dan Hooker in 5 fights, maybe against Nasrat. But he needs to come out here with a sense of urgency. He needs to put it on Claudio Puelles, wear him down, and get back to the Dan Hooker that we know and love. And at 8,700, guys, if he does that, he could put up, oh, there's a freaking train. Of course there is. He could put up 110 and make the optimal lineup. I'm so sorry about this. All my windows are open and it's very windy day outside. I'm going to talk right through the train. So, you know, maybe we'll use that as luck. The train agrees with me. Dan Hooker, Dan the Hangman Hooker is the way to go. I'm picking Dan Hooker to win this fight. I don't think Claudio Puelles gets a sub on Hooker. You know, if Hooker loses this one, then maybe we can say, okay, we got to take a step back and really figure this out. Because if he's not ready for Puelles, then I don't know what he's ready for. But his numbers are there, 3.41 points a minute, 100 points per win. The salary has a win rate of 74%, optimal rate of 33%. So a fantastic numbers here. I'm going with Hooker to pull himself out of this one. I like Claudio Puelles, nothing against him, but he's just not, you know, if he's not leg locking you, you know, he scores 1.78 points per minute in takedowns and control time. Hooker does not allow a ton, about half a point per minute. I'm going to get on the Hooker side of things here. The strength of schedule is crazy. One of the best overall. Anything over 70 is good. We are well over 80 in 3 of 4 categories. Meanwhile, Puelles is at 65. If that tells you anything. I just have a feeling that Hooker's going to get his hand. I think he's going to look like an animal out there this week. He's got something to prove. So I'm gonna take that narrative and I'm gonna roll with it. I like Hooker in this one, as you guys can see the stats. I'm picking Hooker. I'll be over the field on Dan Hooker this week. I'll play a little bit of Claudio Puelles too, but obviously I could be wrong. I just don't see it. I think Hooker's gonna come out here like a freaking animal, like a man with purpose in this fight. And yeah, Puelles might be in trouble. Next fight, Frankie Edgar going against Chris Gutierrez. Frankie Edgar's retirement fight, guys. I should compile a list of how retiring fighters do in their last fight. It can't be good. I mean, it's got to be one of the worst statistical points that we've seen as far as win rate goes. Edgar has very, very good stats. 3.06 a minute, 102 when he wins. These are career stats, though. We need to look a little bit deeper. He is 1-4 in his last 5 with losses to Cheeto, Sandhagen, Korean Zombie, Max Holloway, in which he didn't do a lot as far as DraftKings points. 46, that's good against Holloway. But Holloway's going to take you to a 5-round decision every time. Got smashed by Korean Zombie, scored 7. He beat Pedro Munoz, good win. Split decision, 5-rounder, only 95 points. Scored less than a point with that awful knee he ate from Corey Sandhagen. And then Cheeto Vera. Is this right? Where is the... Oh, I'm thinking of something else. And Cheeto Vera... Cheeto kicked him in the face. That's right. I was thinking of the Chandler kick for some reason, and Tony Ferguson. But yeah, Cheeto Vera... Oof, yikes. But before that 3rd round finish, where Cheeto turned him into the bitter beer face guy, 70 points is what he scored. So he's scoring okay, but at 7,100, guys, I'm not expecting a win here from Edgar. I'm expecting Chris Gutierrez, who is a damn good striker. 8 career knockouts, 2 of them in the UFC. Tends to take guys to decisions, though, it looks like. Where's my UFC career? Yeah, 4 of his wins have gone to decision. 2 wins by KO TKO. Let's look at his. So he KO'd Dana Bakary, split against Kalarish, beat Ewell in unanimous decision, drew against Cody Durden, and knocked out Vince Morales. Frankie's 41. Chris is 10 years younger than that. I'm picking Chris to win. The issue is, am I going to put him in my DraftKings lineups? I'll put a little bit of Edgar in just because it's 7,100, maybe like 20, 30%. Like 20 maxes, maybe less than that in 20 maxes. But Chris, what are Frankie's last finishes? Let's see. He got KO'd. He's been KO'd twice in a row. 3 out of his last 4, he's been KO'd. Yeah, and he's going up against Chris Gutierrez. I'm going to pick Chris Gutierrez by KO, which means I need to put him in my lineup. And at 9,100, that's not terrible. Here, let me go back down. I scrolled away too quick. Here are my projections. Much better for Edgar, but again, guys, these are career numbers, and Edgar's had a shitload of 5-round fights, so that's probably why these are so high. Finishing percentages, etc. Let me get my big head out of the way. I'm picking Chris by KO. and I think I need to put him in my lineup. What's his score per KO? 105 at 9,100. Could be interesting. But Chris has also gotten caught as well, so I will have a bit, like I said, of Frankie Edgar. I'm picking Chris Gutierrez by finish, probably late second, early third round. That's kind of how I see this one. Thank you, Frankie, for, I mean, what a guy to watch. My God, he's been in some wars, and this dude was the king for a while. I mean, so exciting to watch. So it's going to be sad, but I'm picking Chris by KO. Next fight, main event of the evening, guys. Hit that subscribe, please, if you don't mind, if you haven't already. Dustin Poirier going against Michael Chandler. I haven't decided how I'm going to play this one. I might be under the field because this fight is going to be very heavily owned. I think this one could go to decision, to be quite honest. Could easily go to decision. What do these guys score per decision? Well, Chandler's never been. He did... Actually, he's never been in a decision win. Poirier 100 is what he put up in his decision wins, which there have been 7 of them in the UFC. I guess I like the Poirier side, but you're paying up a ton for someone who's basically the same guy as Michael Chandler. I don't know why. I just have a feeling about Poirier. I like him a bit more. This is another one where this one might be my second most difficult fight besides whoever the other one was, Hinata Moicano and Brad Riddell. This one might be, because, I mean, Poirier, 20 UFC wins, 90% of them, so 18 of them, he has scored over 90 points. Wow. 70% over 100 and 40% over 110. Chandler, both of his wins over 100. Both of his losses over 90. Poirier, all of his losses, his opponents have scored over 90, 2/3 of them over. Wow. Okay, maybe you have to play this fight. The problem is the pick. So at these salaries, you're going to end up with tons more Chandler than Poirier, because Poirier is 8,900 and Chandler is just 73. You got to have more Chandler. You have to have more Chandler. This is why I like the show, because I'm talking my way through. I just put the stats in before this, and I don't even look at these until game theory starts. So what are their strength of schedules? Pretty good. Well over 70 in every category for the most part. Poirier with a loss to Oliveira. Both guys lost to Oliveira. Chandler lost to Gaethje. Poirier's only wins have been Dan Hooker, McGregor, and McGregor in his last 5. So here's the graph. Projections. I think Poirier wins this fight. I'll have more Chandler than Poirier. At 7,300 for Michael Chandler? Bro. That's how we're playing it. 7,300 for Chandler. I'll have more of him than Poirier, but I will have Poirier in some lineups. But man, I thought this fight maybe was one to avoid at first, but I think I talked myself out of that. These stats are ridiculous. 18 of 20 wins over 90. That's crazy. Yeah, so pick is Poirier, but I'll have much more Chandler. I think you got to play that fight. Next fight, here's one that a lot of people probably won't be playing. Well, they won't be playing one side of it. So you could get some interesting numbers here. Carlos Esparza, the champion at strawweight, going against Weili Zhang. 9,400 for Zhang, man. That you are paying quite a pretty penny for what everyone thinks is going to be a smash spot. You know, everyone thinks Weili's going to get her title back, and Carla just looked so bad. She didn't even look bad, but the fight against Rose was so bad that she's now a $6,800 dog to Weili Zhang, someone who lost to Rose Namajunas twice in a row, and now she's the dog. I'm going to be on Esparza here, 6,800. I mean, do I think Weili's going to win? Probably, but if Carla just takes her down and like grinds her, this could be a very, very boring and interesting fight. So I'll be higher owned on Esparza. I will have some Zhang, because 9,400 is a great salary to play. I mean, it has a win rate of 81% and an optimal rate of 35%, which is crazy, crazy high. So I will have my shares of Weili Zhang. Don't get it twisted. But I'll be well over the field on Carla Esparza. Believe that. 3.4 points a minute, 92 per win. If she gets a win and scores 92 points at 6,800, that's optimal. Carlos Candelario just made the optimal lineup. He scored 30 points in a loss. And he made the optimal lineup just last week because the scores were off the charts. Everybody scored over 100 last week. So anything could happen. You know, a 90-point win at 6,800 is a pretty much a guaranteed optimal. 6 of Carla's 10 fights have gone over 90, 5 of them over 100. Let's see, 4 of Zhang's 6 wins have been over 100 points, 3 of them over 110. So you got to play this fight. I'll have a bit of Zhang probably under the field because I assume the field's going to be something crazy like 40%. Who would you rather have? This is what it's going to come down to. Aaron Blanchfield is 9,500 against Molly McCann. Weili Zhang is 9,400 against Carla Esparza. Who would you rather have? That's what it's going to come down to. I lean Aaron Blanchfield to be. Who's going to score more points? It could be Blanchfield. But if Zhang comes out here and does Weili Zhang things and just murders Esparza, then again, I might not have any more hats, but I'll have to eat it. This fight's going to be very interesting, guys. Do not sleep on this fight. This could be a make it or break it for DraftKings. If Esparza wins, you're going to want her in your lineups because at 6,800, she's going to make the optimal. But not a lot of finishes for these two women overall in their careers. So, I mean, obviously, Zhang has 11 wins by KO, 18 of 22 wins. But it's the loss numbers that I look at. This number right here. Percent of finishes and losses, 50% in the UFC. Percent of finishes and losses total in their careers, 44%. So it's a bit lower than a lot of these fights we have been talking about. My official pick? Fuck it. I'm going the dog. I'm going Carla Esparza, and I'll be well over the field on Carla Esparza. I will have shares of Weili Zhang. But again, if she's at 30, 35%, there's no way. I'm not going that high at all. Esparza might be maybe 15. I mean, thank goodness that for that last fight, if you're Esparza, if you think Esparza is going to win, that last fight against Rose was the best thing that could have ever happened to you because you're getting her at $6,800 this week. I mean, she scores 1.6 points a minute in takedowns and control time. Weili doesn't give up a ton of that, but Weili's not going to be taking Esparza, I don't think. I mean, maybe she will. Maybe she's going to come out here like a caged animal and just release on Esparza, which would be very bad for my I'm well over the field on Esparza talk. But I think you got to have this fight. If Esparza wins, it's optimal. If Zhang wins and she scores 108, which is what her average is per win, she might be optimal as well. So don't sleep on this fight just because Esparza and Rose looked like crap in their last fight. I'm picking the dog though. I do really like Weili Zhang though, but I'm gonna pick the dog. It's just salary relief. Last fight of the night, guys. The main event. We did it 42 minutes. We'll get you out of here before, well, hopefully around 45, 47. Israel Adesanya going against Alex Pereira. I'm fading this fight. Long story short, I won't try to jabber about this one. I'm fading it. Adesanya is one of the worst DraftKings players on this entire card. 2.29 points a minute, less than 87 per win, and he has 12 UFC wins, guys. 12. He is 367 under his average salary, but he has not made the optimal lineup in any of his previous 4 fights. Meanwhile, Alex Pereira, you know what he can do. This dude looks like a beast. He looks beastly. 4.12 points a minute, 95 per win, and he's $1,200 under his average salary here. So I'll be well over the field. Well, maybe not. I don't know what the field's going to come in on. This fight's going to be heavily owned. You will be able to get leverage because, mark my words, Adesanya is going to be 40% owned, 35 to 40% owned, which is mind blowing. Apparently no one watches, not enough people are watching Game Theory or any of my colleagues' shows. And we are begging you to not play Israel Adesanya, but you guys still are. So I think he comes in 35, 40%, and you're going to be able to get a ton of leverage by just playing like 20%. Play half, and that's still high in my opinion. I'll be at like 15, maybe. 20 maxes, 10 to 15%, if that. I'll be way higher on Pereira than I will on Adesanya. But do I want Alex Pereira to win? Yes. Do I think he will? No. I think this one's going to be a boring 5-round decision. Honestly, I really do. I really do. Adesanya is so good at staying away, while landing a few counters here and there. Pereira might be chasing, although if he has his patience about him, that could be the worst case scenario for Adesanya. But Adesanya has shown that he can be patient as well and just stand there and do nothing, like nothing at all. I mean, he scored 102 against Costa. That was his last good performance. 35, well, that was a loss. 85 against Vettori, 5-round decision. 75 against Whitaker, 5-round decision. I mean, this is like 3 points a minute in a 5-round fight. That's terrible. 85 against Jared Cannonier, 5-round decision. Guys, fade Israel Adesanya. Play Alex Pereira. Do I think Pereira's going to win? Probably not. I think it's going to be Izzy, 4-1, 3-2 in a very boring decision, to be completely honest. My projections are here. Pereira's much higher, obviously, than Adesanya is. And there you go. That's going to do it, guys. I'm picking Pereira in this one. But or actually, I'm picking Adesanya, but I will not be playing him in DraftKings. I think Alex Pereira is the much better play for DraftKings here. And like I said, you can alleviate a bit of salary. I know he's only 8,600, but you can alleviate a bit of that by just playing half of the field. So just pay attention to the ownerships. That is going to do it, guys. That is all 14 fights, UFC 281, broken down from a DraftKings perspective. Once again, hit that subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Stay tuned. The Salary Voodoo show is happening. It'll be right after this, so if you have autoplay turned on, just leave it going. Salary Voodoo, where I break down 3 fights for UFC 281 from a Salary Voodoo perspective. Get on that. And yeah, as usual, I want all of you to enjoy the fight. So enjoy, and we will see you. And then actually, before I go, I almost forgot. Peter Monk's picks for UFC 281. You don't get to escape that easily. From the bottom, he's picking Carlos Ulberg by finish. Interesting. Montel Jackson by decision, which could score very well for Montel Jackson. That could be the highest score of the night if he actually wins by decision. Sungwoo Choi by decision. I agree with that. Kowalkiewicz by decision. I don't know about that one. And my first dog pick, or Computer Monk's first dog pick of the night, Otman Azaitar. I agree with this completely by finish. Andre Petroski by finish. I absolutely love that. If that happens, I will be a very happy man. Blanchfield by decision. Don't mind that. Reyes by finish. Interesting. Whoops. Hanato Moicano by finish. Dan Hooker by finish. That's what I mean. If he comes out and gets the job done, that's going to be a huge score. 8,700 looks great for Hooker by finish. And usually, I'm not going to say it. You know what I was going to say. Just put Hooker and finish in the same sentence and then figure it out yourself. Chris Gutierrez win over Frankie Edgar by decision. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Poirier and Chandler. Poirier by finish. Carla Esparza. See, I'm agreeing with me. Carla Esparza by decision in the closest fight on the entire card, according to CM Monk, 50.37% to 49.63%. Love that pick. And if she wins, my DraftKings lineups will be very, very happy. And then, wow, Alex Pereira by decision that might be the most far-fetched pick of this entire sheet, Computer Monk. So those are his picks right there. That is going to do it, guys. Now I can do my outro. Thank you for tuning in. Stick around for Game Theory. As usual, tonight is Wednesday, so we have the Pub Sports Radio show as well on Pub Sports Radio. Hop over and check that out, 6 p.m. Central Time. And then me and Lou, your boy Lou bet ya on Monk and Lou's Happy Hour Friday, 4:30 Central as well. So do not miss it. Guys, tons more content coming out this week for UFC 281, so be sure to pay attention. Tune into my guys Wheezy and Brady as well. And as usual, I want all of you to enjoy the fight. So enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.